seriously, if you take one thing away from the evening, it's Google Weaver Cooks on YouTube. Like, you'll have the best day of your life, basically, watching it. I'm going to read three poems from the book and a newer one. I think about love a little bit more than I would like to, or should, and there are two quite earnest poems about love in the book. So I'll read one of them, and then we can all get on with our lives. So this is called Flowers, Love, etc. Many times I've become lost and snapped out of it next to a rose bush and bins in someone's front garden, or by a four-way crossing, car horns, and my mouth is full of boring questions. Many times I've become lost and found myself helpless as a snow globe on a mantelpiece in unforgiving sun. When I kiss someone new, my mouth hosts the ghost mouths of old loves. A TV static mouth, a cigarette mouth, a mouth full of piano air and its own ghosts. And when I touch someone new, my hands are full of grass from all the countries I visited alone. If you look hard enough at any flower, it can resemble some part of the human body. All living things are busy imitating each other, and while my tongue attempts shadows of a poppy petal and my navel is a rosebud, I've become lost again, on my lookout for a lost soul who also doesn't believe in souls. This poem I wrote on a train back from Liverpool, and I did a reading in Liverpool. It was years ago, and I got horribly drunk and did a reading, and then had like 3 hours to kill after I got kicked out of my hotel and walked around a museum for 3 hours, which is a really horrible experience if you're really hungover, and it all just became a bit much. And then I wrote this on the way home. It's called Alabaster Baby. Walking from museum to museum, almost crying in each one, in front of an oil painting of a bowl of fruit, in front of a tiny suit of armour, in front of a glass display box of locusts treading all over each other, in front of a fossilised dinosaur dropping, pink and grey like a pork pie, split in two and varnished, in front of a stuffed pygmy marmoset hugging the smallest branch, in front of a reconstructed typical Tudor kitchen with taxidermied chickens and plastic bread, in front of hairpins and pots, a beautifully chiselled miniature family with a glowing baby you can see the light through, in front of the cake selection in the cafe, in front of a mummy with hair on its feet, a sign that says in 1902 it was publicly unwrapped and the bandages given to audience members as souvenirs, in front of various instruments for torture and castration, dented with use, an animatronic man cowering in the corner, in front of a series of mosaics depicting erotic scenes from ancient Rome, in front of a life-size marble effigy of a girl about my age, her hands forced into prayer. I want to lean in and kiss her cold lips. This is slightly longer, and I haven't read this before, I don't think, but it's in parts about my friend Zaina, who's just come over from the Maldives for a visit, so she's sitting over there, and I thought it would be nice to read it. And it also has lots of lines stolen from Tennessee Williams plays and books and interviews and memoirs and stuff like that, so it's a mixture of the two. A prayer for the wild at heart kept in cages. It's been said that a line could be straight or a street, but the human heart is curved like a road through mountains. If that's the case, I hope a row of goats are walking over me on my way to you, otherwise wouldn't that journey be lonely? And that same person said, when so many are lonely or seem to be lonely, it would be inexcusably selfish to be lonely alone. If it's also been said that time is the longest distance between two places, does that mean our bodies have been 3 years apart, which is greater than the thousands of miles of sea between us, but you're as real to me as the ground I'm walking on and the trains I ride to work and back? And if in memory everything happens to music, what would have been playing as you drank a small beer with your bare feet on the carpet of a pub floor? Two new fish in a vast ocean, swimming side by side, sniffing out a new continent. I have no idea. The violets in the mountains have broken through the rocks. I don't know how they did it, but I'm happy for them, for gentle things to be victorious even in the name of destruction. If I got rid of my demons, I'd lose my angels. Romantic love is beautiful, how easily it's broken. All cruel people describe themselves as paragons of frankness. They shout, "We don't love you anymore," as the rest of us run into the sea. What else are you supposed to do on this earth but catch whatever comes to you with all your fingers until your fingers are broken? I'm looking at you through nondescript music again. Add to that the cloudy distortions of my own ego, how cloudy the glass has become. I don't tell the truth, I tell what ought to be the truth, to myself as much as to you. It has been said that there's a time for departure, even when there's no certain place to go. We all live in a house on fire, with no fire brigade to call. I suppose that just leaves the top floor window and a queen-sized duvet to break the fall. The paragons of frankness are shouting again. This time, life is an unanswered question, and now we shout back, but let's still believe in the dignity and importance of the question. Failing everything else, there's always the eating of an unwashed grape as a romantic means of dying, and there's always a handsome man with a moustache and a large silver watch if you're prepared to look hard enough. And since we're all sentenced to solitary confinement inside our own skins, and since physical beauty is transitory, we should all learn to live with it. Then close the door on it when the time comes that you look in the mirror and realise that what you see is all that you will ever be, and then you accept it, or you stop looking in mirrors. And I have one more. There's a cool guy over there called Crispin Best who runs a website called For Every Year, and people respond to a year in however way they want to, like writing or art, or but mostly writing. And for 1776, a group of people wrote responses, and this is my one. And thank you for listening, and thanks if you have to sort anything out. This is called Apples Are 1/4 Air. My husband, the botanist, he dreams green. If you dropped an apple into the ocean, imagine it could wash up on an island with nocturnal trees. The particular way branches branch resemble the pathways through the heart. These are the things he says in the empty space before sleep. How tedious to be a man, so perpetually unchallenged. He is making his own kind of language only the plants comprehend. I paint flowers in miniature. He tells me this is theft, a liberty, and not only that, preservation which is contrary to nature. I find joy only in the shrinking. Like a strawberry, he presents his pips on the outside, they are so numerous. At night, the shadows of his hands move like leaves on the walls. He is a man made up of dark pathways, but he isn't a man at all. You can't tell me a carnivorous plant doesn't have a brain and therefore a heart. Perhaps now I'm talking about myself. In his greenhouse, he is so far away, like a man underwater, a man in a block of ice. When I dream, his mouth becomes a pea-sized hole, and I press the tip of my little finger to it. I eat him whole. In the garden, the sunflowers rotate with the sun. Thanks.